Hey there, I'm Chris Crowell, editor-in-chief of Solar Builder magazine. The NABCEP CE conference is my favorite annual solar event, and because there's so many great presentations, so much to learn. And here to discuss the most important takeaways for solar installers from this year's NABCEP event in this edition of Power Forward is Jordyn Dollarhide, Communications and Media Manager with BayWa RE. Hey, and thanks for taking time considering you're now hosting the Solar Tech Talk podcast these days.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been fun getting in front and, asking some questions to get more answers for our installers. And, it's nice too, because I get to learn as we go through the process as well and learn from our partners. So
I'm just curious the general thoughts heading into NABCEP. What was the vibe of BayWa with your conversations kind of with installers this year heading into the show?
I want to start out and say that, NABCEP is one of our favorite events throughout the entire year. Ken Lima, our new CEO, as of a few months ago, it was his first time representing BayWa RE as the CEO at this event. And he's been there a few times with other companies in the past, but we were just talking about at dinner one of the nights how the electricity and the buzz around NABCEP and the conversations that happen during the event are really unmatched compared to a lot of other events that happen throughout the year. This is our 8th year doing this event and being the platinum sponsor, and we're excited to continue that as we go forward. I would say general vibe for us, especially at our booth, was a lot of people excited and a lot of people looking for forward momentum in their businesses and looking for resources around that forward momentum and what they need to do to get to that next step and to achieve the growth that they deserve and that they want to see.
So as you said there, BayWa RE was once again the platinum sponsor, and you all usually have kind of a theme or maybe a main message going into each event. What was the focus heading into Raleigh this year?
A lot of it's around, creating additional revenue channels and, scaling your business in a way that makes the most sense as the market fluctuates and goes through changes, especially in the residential side. So resources is a big one for us, providing resources for solar installers to make sure that they do have what they need to succeed, and also just achieving success in general through the types of products that you're offering, but also, the types of strategies that you're enacting in your business.
One of your sessions I sat in on, Tierney Marsh presented on how to say no to business. And, I was curious, why you felt that was an important topic to present, kind of given the maybe just general, I know everyone was excited about NABCEP, but kind of the general weirdness of the solar marketplace right now.
We host a few internal councils with some of our customers throughout the year where we kind of just get a gauge on their biggest pain points and some of the obstacles that they're facing as they're, doing their planning process and looking at scaling and things like that and forecasting. And a lot of what we were hearing was that a lot of solar installers right now, because they are trying to, develop more revenue for their businesses, they find themselves potentially bringing on homeowners or customers that sometimes aren't necessarily good for their growth. So what I mean by that is difficult homeowners, or maybe a homeowner that's not necessarily qualified. Their home's not qualified for solar, and it becomes a little bit of a bottleneck for their businesses because it slows the process down, right? And so that was kind of where this session came from, was more about saying no to bad business and saying yes to customers that are good for your growth and ones that will bring additional value to your solar installation business. It was more for quality customers rather than quantity. And that's kind of ties into our other session that we hosted as well. Tierney and I did a session around the post-installation experience process and creating a stronger referral network through the use of social media and digital marketing platforms, but also presenting more solutions to homeowners after the installation process is complete. So that could look like maybe you do an install for a customer and they want to add an EV or an electric vehicle in a few years, but they're not necessarily ready to do that now. That's an opportunity for you to come back to that homeowner at a later time and offer that product to them as preparation for when they do get that vehicle or energy storage. So becoming or using your customers in a more quality sense and building more quality relationships rather than the quantity side. and potentially bringing on homeowners that create a little bit more challenge for a business.
That makes sense. Say no to those customers that are leading you down a bad path, are going to be too difficult, or whether it's before the install or after. Even though right now it's like you maybe just want to say yes to anything if it's coming in the door, but by saying yes to the right customers, you then have the opportunity to expand your business further with additional revenue down the road. So it's like a long-term play to saying yes to more business by saying no to the wrong business. I like that. Yeah.
One of the examples that we gave at the Say No to Bad Business session was actually one from my experience in Resi Solar. One of the things that I saw actually more often than what I would have thought was customers that had a great south-facing roof, but they didn't want their panels on the south-facing roof, and they wanted it on other sides of their roof. And our sales reps and our account managers would explain to them, hey, if you don't install these panels on this side of the roof, your production isn't going to be at 100%. You're probably going to be looking at like that 80-85% production range. And the customers would insist that was okay and that they just didn't want it on the south facing. Well, lo and behold, you get to the post-install process and they're upset that they're not at the 100% production.
And I remember you mentioning that. And could you just say again real quick why that customer didn't want panels on the south facing roof? Because that's
yes. So this customer specifically, they said that they did not want their panels above their master bedroom roof because the radiation was going to give them cancer or a sickness. And this, funny enough, this is not an isolated incident. I had multiple people that came to me with this concern. And totally I understand fears around, certain things, but I will say that the science is there and solar is very safe. So I think that we're okay with putting the panels in those situations, but definitely was an interesting one.
So in this situation, not only are you potentially installing panels on the side of, side of the roof that's going to not produce as much, this person still thinks that their radiation is leaking into a part of their house. So, don't put yourself liable for anything that comes of that either.
A customer that does have that type of issue and that mindset might be a difficult challenge down the road. Maybe it's something that, you are able to complete the installation in that moment, but at some point down the road, it might present a little bit of a challenge for you and just a little bit of a headache that you wouldn't have had you had said no to that customer initially. So
that was a pretty lively session. I really liked it. And, there was a lot of engagement with the, just the installers in the crowd too. Was there anything that stood out to you, either in that session or the other session you mentioned, from the crowd, or a conversation you had that, has stuck with you from the week?
After our second session that was around the post-installation experience process, we had a lot of people come up to us afterwards and express that they had a lot of challenges with building those positive relationships after the installation was complete. So I built a referral process for a company a while back, and that was what I presented on, was just the excitement around that and what it can do for a business. And a lot of people just came up to me afterwards and were like, wow, this is really just, the secret sauce. This is something that my business has been missing, and I haven't really known that I was missing it. And I haven't really known that this was an opportunity for us to capitalize on this. And the referral network too is a great way to continue that relationship, to offer additional products, which was also a big part of that session too, was just showing the opportunities of when you can offer these products at the most opportune time, rather than just kind of offering them all right out the gate at once and having the customer a little bit apprehensive about it.
Yeah, I really like that. And one comment that stood out to me, it's not really on what we've been talking about, but I liked in that session the company that noted that they always bring on new hires as installers first. They don't just hire someone into sales. You have to start and be on the roof and at least know what that job is like. And then they have flexibility into moving into logistics or, just sales and design or whatever. And because there's so many conversations about things going wrong and other parts of, the business from people who are disconnected from what the actual installation is like, and I just really liked that.
That's actually, That's a great point and a great call out. I look back at my time in Resi and I wish that I would have done something like that, because there's just an understanding that comes from actually installing the product that you really just can't get any other way sometimes. Like there's just some things in life where you have to do it yourself to fully understand it. I really liked that example.
That's what I love about NABCEP. You just hear little things like that kind of constantly. On the product side, I was intrigued by updates I learned about from the Franklin WH A-Gate energy management system. That sounded pretty cool. They have some stuff coming out in the next couple months. And there was the new ChargePoint home energy storage system that I was unfamiliar with, that I thought was like really cool and slick looking. And I like learning about the updates that Enact Solar made to their sales and design platform, which kind of has an installer facing side and a customer facing side. I wrote about stuff like that on solarbuildermag.com if anyone wants to check out my takeaways on that. I'm just curious from the BayWa RE side of things, is there anything just particularly exciting all of you right now product wise?
We have so many amazing partners that are offering so many new products. And we're really lucky to partner with some of the best in the industry. And it was really cool to see so many of our partners at NABCEP that were presenting, their new product lines and some exciting innovations that are coming up. Like Enphase was there and they had a lot of great new things coming up as well, which was really awesome. But one particularly that we're really excited about is Tesla's new Powerwall 3 line is really, really exciting. There's a lot of awesome new features with it and just great improvements to the product too, and a lot of just improvements that can benefit homeowners and as they install with their solar system. There's just so many great things with it, paired with their inverter series, that's seamless installation process, quick install, things like that. So really, really excited to offer that to our customers. And we're really happy that, we have that partnership.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, my final thought on NABCEP 2024 is I feel more than ever and solar installers need to get more involved and communicate in their communities, communicate more with AHJs, communicate with local fire departments, and getting involved with code making bodies. I mean, maybe I know they're constantly talking with AHJs and stuff, but there's been a lot of improvements in technology and updates in codes that if your AHJ's on NEC 2017, there's just so much more to understand. And there's got to be a way to be more proactive and kind of like bring the industry forward with like a partnership of just the community around you. And, Jeff Spees made a comment about how few solar minded people are in some of these code making bodies and how kind of precarious the position can be sometimes, and influencing what the next code update's going to be. So, easy for me to say, I guess. Maybe I'm just high on NABCEP fumes still, but that was something that stood out to me. I'm just curious, does that sound like a meaningful takeaway to you? And, I guess what did you walk away from this year's conference thinking?
Yeah, the really cool thing about NABCEP is that the technical sessions that are offered there, I have never really been able to get as immersed into policy and into, the different specs of certain products like I was at NABCEP. And I think that what you said about communication is so key here. Especially as our, industry grows and as it gets a little bit more complex. I feel like each and every year I see something added into the mix, or wrenches thrown into the works, or something like that happens, always keeping us on our toes, right? And to combat that, I think the best way to combat that and to span together is to communicate with each other. And I think that using each other as resources, even from, the solar installer side, and building relationships with other companies that are experiencing some of the same issues or obstacles that you might be facing, communicating with each other and with our partners in the industry is so imperative if we want to continue to learn and to get better as the times progress. Big takeaway for me is like education. We have a lot of resources at BayWa RE specifically through account managers and also just individuals that can offer guidance and insight into different policies.
I was wondering that, NABCEP, we lauded it so much. It's a great event. Just throughout the year, though, I mean, if an installer is working with BayWa RE, I mean, some of the stuff we've talked about, is that like, do you feel like you're a resource to go to learn, keep up to date with even just local policy, or working with, AHJs and things of that nature?
Our account managers and our locations are strategically located so that we're able to provide the most value to installers across the nation. So our partners and, our account managers, they are totally up to date on everything that you need to know for your local policy, utility, different, laws and net metering things and all that good stuff. Our account managers are 100% up to date with that. And so if anything comes up, or if, you're an installer and you need that information and you need kind of more insight and guidance on that, we're absolutely equipped to help you with that. And we do have the resources to do that.
All right. Well, hey, that's a nice little note to end on. Jordyn, just thanks for taking the time to stop by Power Forward today, and just looking forward to seeing what is coming up next on Solar Tech Talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And as always, it's a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to being in front of the camera with you more here soon.